Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to EdUp on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. Dr. Joe Salustio here with you at the World Swan and Dolphin Resort in Orlando, Florida, at the Anthology Together 2022 conference. We are back again for a second year with our good friend Jim Milton, CEO, and so many others. We can't wait to talk to amazing people, incredible people, users, executives from Anthology, people who are at the front end of technology and innovation in higher education through the Anthology system, which I have to tell you guys, this big, awesome thing that Joe Salustio, of course, I work at Lindenwood University, who is currently going through an anthology transition. So we are in spins of data. We are setting up the system. I am so excited. You have absolutely no idea. So I'm a walking, talking, breathing testimonial. In fact, the transition is going so good. I don't think anybody can believe it, because transitions are usually ripe with pitfalls, but it's going so good. We are so excited at Lindenwood. In fact, our Chief Information Officer, his name is TJ Rains. He is here today, and I'm going to be interviewing him. How funny is that? About his control of the transition to Anthology and how he thinks it's going. So I'm kind of playing two roles today. Somebody else that plays two roles as my guest today. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is.
Attention.
Oh, that's not the button I wanted to hit for him. I'm going to get the applause button ready for him. But you should say attention for him. Ladies and gentlemen, he is named Chris the Hustler Husser. He's Vice President of Product Management and Anthology. Chris, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back. This is your second go-around.
Yeah.
Last year we had you in Dallas, I think. Was it in Dallas, Anthology 20?
We were outside Texas. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. So here you are again. So basically what did they do? They told you you're open to being punished, and so you have to come back on EdUp again?
Go spend some more time with those folks. Yep.
Yeah, that was a terrible joke on my part. I'm going to do better. This is my first one of the day. Chris is here, though. The reason why we're excited to interview you, Chris, is because you kind of have some really unique and groundbreaking new unveiling today called Intelligent Experiences. And so what is that, right? What is Intelligent Experiences? Talk about your role a little bit as VP of Product Management, how they relate together, and what we can expect.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate the question, and the opportunity that we've got here at the conference with all of these folks is to get, tremendous feedback and interactions with users. So it's a great time for us to drop kind of our newest, exciting ideas and strategies. And so the one that'll be talked about here at the conference today, as you said, it's intelligent experiences. So the area that I represent at Anthology, we call it lifecycle engagement, and it refers to the idea of working with institutions to engage across the life cycle, right? Not surprising. But that idea is that you've got folks that start even before they're students. They could be in the admissions pipeline. They could be prospects. They matriculate, they become, students. They go through the student experience, whatever that might take, 4 years, 2 years, 6 years, whatever. And eventually, we hope, right, they graduate, they become alumni. So that's the life cycle as we think of it. Why that kind of relates to intelligent experiences is that we have been, as Anthology, thinking about the fact that we've got a tremendous number of systems now as a company, right? Something like 60 or more products, I believe, across all these different areas. We've got the key systems like the learning management system, the student information system, and the CRM, or the constituent relationship management system. So each of those kind of creates a sort of if you will, a center of gravity, as I think of it, for data, right? Because then there's lots of tools and other things that go along or integrate with those systems that institutions use. And whether it's in admissions, enrollment management, student life, student affairs, academic affairs, alumni, et cetera. So you've got all this data swirling around all of these key systems. And if you think about it, Anthology, we're kind of like an institution, right? Because institutions have all these systems, and many of them, they don't have them from the same vendor. They're from, lots of different vendors. And so the challenge is, how do you bring that kind of ecosystem together? So we, Anthology, are trying to solve that same problem and bring kind of our data sets together. Now, not every institution is going to have all of the things that we've got, but we still want to figure out ways for those who do, or those who bring in data from other platforms, to kind of bring it together. And then what happens is, when you have all this data, what are the questions you can start to answer for students? What are the kind of experiences you can make better because of having all that data at your fingertips? Those are intelligent experiences.
So
we push the limits of science and technology.
That was Chris, actually. We recorded you earlier, Chris, and that's
right.
what you said.
That's right.
So there's so many questions about how to serve students better. And as the student evolves, which the student is evolving, right? It's the students becoming more consumeristic, education's becoming more commoditized, outcomes and communicating outcomes and in mass is even more important, right? Because it becomes a value proposition differentiator. How do you bring so much data together? And because I wonder how often you get cornered here, like, Chris, if we only had a so-and-so, and Chris, can we get a so-and-so? And how do you take all that feedback and all this data and distill it down to a product that is intelligent, that does give you the information that you want when you want it, right? Because we want as real-time information as we can get.
That's right. And one of the key things that I think you've picked up on is it's actually really hard to do that with any one product. And so what's important about the intelligent experiences concept that we've unveiled here at the conference is that it isn't actually just one product that you can get from us that is called intelligent experiences. It's really more of an ingredient, the secret sauce, so to speak, that we're going to start baking into all of our products so that they are tapping into this ecosystem of data that we have leveraged across kind of our platforms, and using that to make the experience inside any one product, whether it's that of an instructor figuring out which students they need to focus on supporting, whether it's an admissions officer figuring out which students might be the ones that they need to be reaching out to during the admissions process, or anything in between, or alumni, other examples. How can we use this data to better inform the decisions they need to make? And that's really what we're trying to do.
Amazing.
Can you give us some examples of how it will come to life across the platform, and how does this manifest itself, so to speak?
Yeah. So at this conference, we're going to talk about one particular example that's going to be sort of our first, to market, so to speak, that we're planning for this later this year. And it's in a platform that we've built called Achievement Studio. It's at achievementstudio.com. And it is a platform that's really student oriented. So the cool thing about intelligent experiences is they can be for any type of user. It could be for faculty, instructors, administrators. We've decided that we want students to be the first beneficiaries, though, of this kind of new approach, this new vision for our products, because we feel that institutions have a tremendous amount of data about students, and they benefit from running reports and aggregating and doing all kinds of stuff. But the student doesn't often get the benefit of all the data that's being collected about them. And so we thought that was a really cool opportunity actually to do things that obviously institutions want, which is make students more successful, but that would be potentially game changing for the students as well, giving them more of that intelligence that you don't typically see in a lot of educational technology products. And so the first example we're looking to bring to market here in the fall will be one in this Achievement Studio platform, where we're looking to help students understand the skills that they have been sort of amassing from their work in and outside the classroom, which turns out it's actually really difficult to do if you're a student, is to understand, what are the skills that I've gained from my time at college. I go to
We
courses.
know how important that is.
That's
in this
right.
whole skill stacking environment that we live in too. So you're catering to this is the point you bring up here. And I meant to ask you this last year, and I meant to ask it to a lot of folks, and then I kept forgetting because, it was Fast and Furious last year. And this year, also Fast and Furious. How often, because you talked about looking at it from the student's perspective, like the student doesn't often know what you're doing with the data and how you're doing. How often do you have to take what the institution wants, because that's your customer, right? The institution, and say, you know what, that's a really good idea, but we have to look at this through the student's eyes, right? So it's almost like you have to take the suggestion from your customer, but then look at it from the customer's customer, from their perspective. And sometimes it's not going to come out the same, even though it's your customer that asked for it. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah. You hear that phrase about being a B2B, as in business to business, or a B2C, business to consumer type of business model. And I sometimes think we're a B2B2C because
You definitely are.
Exactly what you just said. Yeah. And it can be a challenge, but I think it's actually a fun one, because a lot of times what we find is that when we can solve problems for students, those really are the problems of the institution. And so there's certainly a balancing act where folks are going to want to see, we need to keep up with the most recent regulatory compliance issues or whatever that clearly, most students aren't going to necessarily know about. But at the same time, if we can balance that against things that are making students' lives easier, making instructors' lives easier, we that tends to be appreciated by the administrative staff.
So as the VP of product management, what are these common themes that get requested of you for product, for new, for innovative, right? Because higher ed's changing. It's, with micro credentials, and we have ins and outs, and we have, gap years, and we have 39 million adult students with some college and no degree. We have institutions literally changing their brand to go after those 39 million students. Sometimes elite institutions just with sub brands, and there's many examples of that. It changes as I knock my microphone because I'm so professional here at the EdUp Experience. But it changes the product set, doesn't it? Does it make you continually evolve the product to serve the changing institution, or is the product static and you're evolving it, rather than new? Is it always new, or is it an evolution of what exists?
Yeah, great question. I think in higher education, at least in the U.S., but I dare say this is probably true, in across the world as well. There are a set number of probably really important problems that I'm afraid still have yet to be completely solved, and I'm not sure they ever will be entirely, right? So you've named a couple of them. Finding the right students for my institution so I can keep my enrollment rates where I want them and keep myself operating. And then once I have those students, supporting them, making them successful, retaining them, keeping them from dropping out, or ensuring that they're at least persisting. And then ensuring that when that happens, that they would complete or graduate, that they're satisfied with the experience that they've had. They can go on and presumably get a job or accelerate their career.
100%.
That's my disorienting agreement.
That's right. So yeah, let's just focus on those three things, for example. Again, I don't think those are problems I think they've gotten better over the years across lots of different technology providers. Certainly our company, has been working at those problems for a long time. But if you look at things like, say, student retention and student completion, we still have the same challenges we had 10, 15, even maybe 20 years ago. Technologies have come and gone, different approaches have been used to try to make it better, but then the environment outside of the institution is, of course, always changing. The student and the types of problems that they're dealing with is changing. The demographic of what a student has changed tremendously as well. So I think it's hard for the technology to always keep up with kind of what's happening. And so to your question, I think it's more about evolving the approach that our technologies are using in order to kind of get ahead of those problems more, and to, bringing it back to the intelligent experiences. I think what's kind of, groundbreaking about what we're doing is we're not trying to make institutions take a new approach to advising or student success retention management. We're trying to make the approaches that they've been using better, more effective by leveraging data more easily than they've been able to do on their own.
So is that my big takeaway for intelligent experiences, and why I need to care about it as an institution, is because it's going to bring me what I want easier, and how do you pitch it, the right way? Why do I care as an institution?
That's right. I think easier, more seamless, more effective. These are all good phrases. I mean, a really good experience that we make more intelligent is one that you don't even really know is there, I think, in some ways. So if you think about examples, like using GPS or other types of things that are very natural to us nowadays, there's a tremendous amount of data that powers those types of technologies, but we sort of don't really think about it. We take it for granted. How could we do that same thing with every little interaction that happens along a student's journey of going from the time of admission through to completion, which is, probably hundreds, if not thousands of little steps and interactions and things that they're doing, and often things they have to figure out on that journey. And so if we can make those as seamless and easy as possible, just like you said, then yes, we'll have made those experiences more intelligent.
So it'll be interesting to see what kind of feedback you get, right? Because technically intelligent experiences, to the way you just described it, would be me doing my job easier without even knowing that I would know that it got easier, but it wouldn't be like I'm going to go to this intelligent experience portal over here, and I'm going to go to the less intelligent experience portal over there. So when as I experience the intelligent experiences pathways, is the feedback that you're going to get, hey Chris, it just was it's so much easier to do this, like I really appreciate that, I was trying to get this done and it happened. Is that what you're looking for now? Is that how you measure?
I think that's part of it, but I do think one important thing to touch on here is the idea that what we're not trying to do is take away agency. We're in this, I think, modern era where, in a good way, people are focused on data security, data privacy, more than ever. And again, I think that's fantastic and something that we definitely need to see as consumers, and certainly in higher education. So what we're not trying to do is bring things like machine learning and artificial intelligence to bear in order to make decisions for students or faculty or staff or anything. There might be places we can intelligently inform their decisions. We can guide them in those decisions. And maybe there are some places where we might want to say, yeah, we could do that for us or do this for you. You want us to do that? Click this button. So there's definitely things that we can make more seamless, more automated. But I think keeping people's agency is always really important. The students need to continue to be the ones guiding their journey, not having an algorithm necessarily tell them what to do. Or same thing with faculty who are figuring out what's the right pedagogical method to bring to their classroom. There's things we can do to make it easier for them, but not, again, replace the academic freedoms and other approaches that make them good at what they do.
I love it. I'm so happy that you were able to come on and tell us about intelligent experiences today. Of course, this will be out there in about 30 minutes or so, Elvin. We'll get this out from when we record it. So people are now going to be listening to this and coming up to you going, Chris, what is intelligent experiences? So you're going to have a long day ahead of you if you didn't already.
That's a good problem to have.
This is a good problem to have as the VP of product management. We appreciate you for coming on. Did you have a good EdUp experience today, as good as or better than your first time on the podcast?
Oh, tough. You had an awesome, engaging co-host last time, so you had to carry all this on your own today, but you did awesome.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Chris Husser, and he's Vice President of Product Management here at Anthology. You've just EdUp'd.